Welcome to Terrifying Tales, the place where nightmares come to life. Brace yourself, intrepid explorer of the terrifying. Prepare for a chilling adventure into the heart of darkness and history's haunted halls. Are you ready for the secrets shrouded in mystery and fear? Welcome to the dawn of dread. Welcome, brave souls, to an experience unlike any other. This is not just a journey, but a plunge into history's abyss. The echoes of humanity's terrifying deeds still exist. We're about to uncover tales that chill the marrow, stories that have been whispered in hushed tones. We will dare to venture into the heart of darkness. As we traverse the past, we'll spectres of fear and dread. Are you ready to step into the shadows, uncover the horrifying truth? Brace yourself for tales of true horror. Deep within the pitch-black crevices of history, 3 horrifying incidents have carved their names into the annals of terror. As we descend further into the past, we find ourselves entrapped in the sinister shadows of an era brimming with fear, a time of atrocious acts and unspeakable torment. As we strip away the layers of time, we embark on a macabre voyage, a journey that transports us back to a period when the air itself was laden with palpable fear, and the ghastly spectre of death was an uninvited yet relentless presence. Brace yourself, for the tales we are about to disclose are the stuff of your darkest nightmares. We will traverse the twisted arteries of history, treading in the ghostly silence left in the aftermath of these appalling events. We will bear witness to the brutal truths of an era when life was as fragile as porcelain, and death lurked around every corner. We will navigate through the maze of the past, delving into the sinister depths of humanity's history, following the crimson trails left by the perpetrators of these monstrous deeds. The first event we will dare to uncover is a story so petrifying that it sends bone-chilling jolts down the spine of even the steeled historian. A tale cloaked in the black veil of forgotten times, echoing with the deafening screams of its victims. This horrifying killing spree is a testament to the terrifying lows to which mankind can plunge. We will pry open its casket of oblivion and let the ominous story unravel, exposing the spine-chilling truth behind its occurrence. The second event, equally harrowing, is a chapter of history that remains indelibly imprinted on the collective psyche of mankind. Here, the air was not just heavy with terror, but was also thick with the reek of death. We will plummet into the sinister specifics, piecing together the fragments of a story that still reverberates with the whispers of its morbid past. The third event is soaked in a fear-inducing aura that clings to it even now. Its ghastly details serve as a bone-rattling reminder of the monstrous acts that can be committed under the shroud of night. We will sift through the layers of this gruesome tale, unearthing the skeletal remains of its past, each piece more horrifying than the last. From the eerie whispers of the past, we will uncover the grim circumstances that enshrouded these mortifying incidents. These narratives, shrouded in terror and despair, are a chilling testament to the darker recesses of human nature. As we traverse these haunted corridors of history, we aim to expose the shadowy perpetrators, dragging them out of the chilling darkness into the harsh light of truth. The tales of these appalling incidents, steeped in terror, serve as a brutal reminder of the atrocities committed. They also serve as a chilling warning for the future, highlighting our potential for cruelty and violence, and the need for vigilance to prevent such horrors from recurring. In this exploration, we are not mere passive observers. Instead, we are sleuths, piecing together the clues left in the wake of monstrous deeds. With each horrifying detail unearthed, we inch closer to comprehending the depths of these horrific events and the terror they unleashed upon the world. We will journey through these hallways of horror, guided by the last whispers of those who endured unthinkable suffering. As we delve deeper into the darkness, we peel back the layers of these horrific events, revealing the terrifying truths hidden beneath. These are their stories, imbued with fear, and their haunting last words. Our inaugural chronicle of horror transports us to the petrifying sight of a merciless atrocity committed within the cold, indifferent grasp of death. As twilight reluctantly succumbed to the abyssal darkness of the night, a decrepit manor, marred by centuries of decay, stood defiant against the relentless onslaught of time and the elements. Nestled among gnarled, ancient trees and shrouded by a spectral fog, it bore mute witness to the macabre dance of life and death within its time-ravaged walls. In the festering bowels of this haunted structure, a diorama of paralyzing terror was soon to be etched within the oppressive silence. The labyrinthine manor, with its endless, winding passageways, abyssal chambers and cobweb-choked corners, exuded an air of profound gloom. Each haunted room echoed with the hollow reminiscences of joy, despair and secrets now swallowed by the maw of time. Here, the spectral remnants of the past and the oppressive weight of the present melded to conceive an ageless atmosphere of spine-chilling mystery. A hapless victim, an unwitting inhabitant of this architectural monstrosity, was on the precipice of a bone-chilling demise. A stoic man, tormented by the phantoms of his past, ensnared within the ghostly silence of his spectral surroundings. Isolation that was once his refuge had transformed into his inevitable prison. His existence was a dirge of solitude, punctuated only by the relentless haunting pulse of his own trembling heart. As the night further descended into obscurity, the air around him became oppressively thick, almost tangible. This invisible shroud of impending dread was as palpable as the icy gusts that permeated the manor's weakened structure. The air was heavy with a gripping fear, a sensation that sent one's pulse into a frenzy and forced the dormant hairs on their neck to stand at attention. The crypt-like silence was only shattered by the foreboding tick-tock of a time-worn clock, defiantly nestled in a shadowy corner, marking the passage of time with relentless, unyielding precision. The doomed victim, ensnared within an uneasiness he couldn't comprehend, felt the icy tendrils of terror crawling up his spine. His eyes darted frantically across the room, the dancing, grotesque shadows cast by the feeble, flickering candlelight distorting his grip on reality. Each tick of the clock resonated louder, the echoes bouncing off the cold stone walls, amplifying his mounting dread. Suddenly he felt an overwhelming desire to vocalize his terror, to dispel the suffocating silence that seemed to ensnare him. His voice, corroded with disuse, sliced through the tomb-like stillness. His words, chilling and suffused with despair, reverberated through the ghostly corridors. "Beware the shadows cavort this night." This ominous proclamation was a bone-chilling prophecy, a desperate plea to any unfortunate soul who might dare to breach this accursed manor. This was his last testament, whispered into the void before the all-consuming darkness seized him. The silence swiftly returned, devouring his words and leaving behind only the echoing remnants of his final plea. An icy gust swept through, extinguishing the lone candle and thrusting the manor back into the abyss. The tale of horror had run its course, leaving behind only the chilling memory of a crime perpetrated, a victim lost to the shadows, and a dire warning that still echoed through the bleak corridors of the ancient manor. Our next journey into fear leads us into a ghastly tale that is bound to freeze your blood and leave you reeling from the eerie resonance of the narrative. Today we delve into the terrifyingly real episode of an existence abruptly halted, a life that promised so much, cruelly snatched away in a shocking, unforeseen turn of events that nobody could have predicted. It was an ordinary day, much like any other. The sun rose in all its glory, casting long shadows that danced along the quiet streets of a sleepy town. But beneath its tranquil veneer, something sinister was brewing, something so horrifying that it would change the course of this woman's life forever. This woman, a person of remarkable courage conviction, found herself ensnared in the chilling, iron-hard grip of an unseen impending doom that loomed ominously over her. She was an unassuming character who woke up that fateful morning oblivious to the grim Reaper's close proximity, a shadow that was slowly but surely creeping up on her. She went about her day, unknowingly walking closer towards the precipice of her mortality. The sun started to descend, and with it came an unusual chill, a feeling that seemed to penetrate the very marrow of her bones, the cold reality of her impending doom. The air around her grew heavy, weighed down by a sense of dread that was potent enough to suffocate the bravest of hearts. The birds chirping, the wind held its breath, and the eerie silence of the impending doom echoed across the eerie landscape. As the clock hands moved inexorably forward, her heart pounded in her chest like a drum in an orchestra of fear. In this universe of paralyzing fear, she found herself alone, wrestling with the looming shadow of her mortality. Her breath hitched as she uttered her famous last words, a sentence that continues to haunt the corridors of time. "Can't you see it? It's right behind you!" Her voice, trembling with terror, echoed around her, bouncing off the cold, lifeless walls of her home. The terror in her voice was palpable, an oral manifestation of the fear that had gripped her soul. It was a chilling to her encroaching fate, a poignant reminder of the sheer terror that she was dealing with. Each word she spoke was laced with an emotion so raw, so potent, that it seeped into the listener's consciousness, leaving a trail of icy fear in its wake. As she spoke these words, her voice trailed off into a whisper, an eerie silence filling the room. It was a desperate plea, a plea to the invisible forces that seemed to be closing in on her, to the voices she could hear, to the shadowy figure that she could see creeping closer with second. It was a plea for help, a plea for mercy, a plea to be saved from the ominous fate that was inching closer. But it was too late. The eerie silence was broken by a blood-curdling scream, a sound so horrifying that it could curdle the blood in one's veins. The end was upon her, the cruel, merciless end that was always lurking in the shadows. And just like that, in a chilling, shocking turn of events, the end took her. Our final descent into the abyss brings us to a tale of a life brutally snuffed out, leaving behind a chilling echo. This tale is a chilling narrative that will hold you captive, a story that seems to whisper directly from the pages of history, grabbing a hold of your senses and refusing to let go. It was on the eve of a deep winter season, the land cocooned in a blanket of snow, the trees standing as solemn sentinels bearing witness to a tale of chilling horror. The night was frosted, the moonlight silvering the landscape, the soft whisper of the wind carrying the ghosts of the day into the velvety darkness. The world was in slumber, an eerie serenity settling over the land and lending an ethereal quality to the night. The silence was almost tangible, broken only by the occasional hoot of, or the rustling of leaves under the foot of some nocturnal creature. In the midst of this peaceful tranquility, a man found himself in an unforeseen predicament. He was a regular individual, a man who had lived his life in quiet obscurity, away from the prying eyes of the world. He had his share of dreams, hopes and fears, and like any other, he held on to the basic human instinct of survival. He found himself cornered in an alley, the walls closing in, the shadows stretching away into an impenetrable cloak of darkness. His heart pounded in his chest, every beat a stark reminder of his impending doom. His breath came in ragged, the cold air searing his lungs and turning his breath into wisps of fog that danced and twirled before disappearing into the night. His assailant was a dark figure, a silhouette that seemed to merge with the shadows, an embodiment of his worst fears. The terror-stricken victim, under the weight of his despair, could only gasp out a question, a plea, an acceptance. "Is this the end, then?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper, his words a desperate attempt to reach out and cling to the last vestiges of life. This question was filled with despair that bore the weight of 1,000 sorrows, with an undeniable acceptance of his fate. It bore the story of a man who had struggled, who had loved, who had survived until he was confronted with a force that he could not overcome. It was a question that resonated with the bleak reality of his situation, with the terror of his predicament, with the despair that clung to his words. His final words, a chilling testament, were carried away by the wind, echoing in the silence of the night, absorbed by the cold, unfeeling walls of the alley. They lingered, a haunting testament, a grim reminder of his, a chilling echo of the brutality that had been inflicted upon him. These words, filled with sorrow, despair, and acceptance, echoed in the stillness, a mournful dirge that seeped into the heart of the night. They lingered long after his demise, a chilling testament to his tragic end. And so, our final descent into the abyss brings us to a tale of a life brutally snuffed out, leaving behind a chilling echo. His final words, a haunting testament, lingered long after his demise. In the end, all that remains are the chilling echoes of their famous last words. A chilling summation of events, the horror of their outcomes, an indelible imprint on the canvas of reality. These were their stories, their final words, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks in the shadows. We hope you enjoyed this journey into the heart of darkness. Don't forget to subscribe for more terror tales, like the video if it spooked you. Share your thoughts below. Thank you for joining us in this descent into the abyss. Until next time, stay safe and remember the darkness is always watching.